Welcome back to another week of the Blue White Player Show. I am your host, Aeneas Hawkins, joined by the legendary Keith Goon Conlon for yet another week. Keith, how are we feeling after that 1-0 statement from Penn State football this weekend?
Just an unbelievable game. Unbelievable game. Everywhere, tough team comes in here. You got to play that good to get over those guys, and that Delaware team was tough. But Delaware, a lot of credit coming up here and playing the boys, and our guys. It's not an easy game to get up for like that type of thing because it's 1AA type of thing, but the biggest thing is you try to stay healthy. You don't want to get guys hurt. You just want to fine tune and hone what you have done, and like we talked about many times, the week 1 to week 2, and I definitely saw improvement on a lot of different positions from week 1 to week 2.
Yeah, for the most part, I thought it looked like a much cleaner game execution-wise from all three phases. And you're right, it's hard to get up for a game like that when you're supposed to beat up on those guys. But again, the biggest benefit of playing a game like that to me, and Coach Franklin has harped on it for the past 2-3 years, is you get a chance to build some depth behind the guys who are playing all year long. Nick Dawkins, our guy, we got to get back on the show, got 52 snaps on Saturday. It's a big win for my guy.
5-3 was back in action, baby.
The 5-3 back in action, man.
It's been a while.
It's getting scary. Let's talk about, the environment. The weather was absolutely perfect on Saturday.
What just blew my mind was, if we got an hour or two of tailgating in, it was a bonus.
Yeah.
We had, we got there at 8 or 7 o'clock in the morning, and then it didn't rain until 4:30. So everything we got was an absolute bonus, and I don't think people bought their sunscreen like they had done the week before.
Well, I certainly have forgotten mine. As you know, I walk around with
I can tell.
all the time.
Geez, I was worried about you.
Got a little bit of a tan going here.
I'm over there making my sausage sandwiches. I was worried. Man, do these have sunscreen on? I'm worried about them.
Still only my second year not playing football. I have completely missed the tailgate experience up until these past couple of years. Really enjoy. The food on the grill, the weather, the vibes, the music, even.
The vibe, everything about it.
Everything about it was the real deal. Let's get into a little bit of what you saw from the offense, specifically that group up front. You saw them run for, 350 yards as a unit. What did you see up front that allowed them to finally have some of that explosive success?
Well, we started in also a little bit last week, and that is that you watch the NFL, and it's you're not going as live competition, until that first. Even though they have 2 preseason or 3 preseason games in the NFL. That game yesterday, all the NFL games were very sloppy up front. And the people who hurt the most were the offensive line. So how many times were you guys going live? Full to the ball, special teams, all that stuff during camp. Never. You can't afford to lose somebody. So your first time hitting as an offensive lineman was that West Virginia game last week.
Yep.
So now it's time to start honing in on your craft and working a little bit, working on your footwork and working on your hand placement and working on your timing and everything like that. And I saw nothing but improvement. I know it was a lesser opponent. We understand that, but you still need to go out and do what you got to do. I do have to ask you, how about what you said about a defensive end going against Ole?
Oh, man, that poor kid. I'm watching the game, again, enjoying my day tailgating. This poor FCS defensive end, man, is doing his very best against Olu Fashion.
Like, Ole is going to be
top 5 draft pick.
He's going to be a top 5 draft pick, and we get it. And I said, Aeneas, just think about this. I said, imagine what that FCS defensive end is saying 25 years from now. When Ole's getting put in the Hall of Fame, going, I played against that guy.
It'll be real cool in 25 years. I'm sure it wasn't as cool on Saturday.
It was not that fun Saturday for them.
No, it wasn't. For
all of them, our O-line played well.
They did play very well, and you got to put it into context. Typically when you're talking FBS versus FCS, especially at Penn State versus Delaware, most of the kids that are playing Penn State football and playing meaningful reps have NFL aspirations. At some level, they believe they can do it. A lot of these kids at Delaware are just trying to get a couple degrees done, and they don't plan on running into an Olu Fashion on a Saturday. So it's an unfortunate series of events.
Well, I always say the football team's got to do a lot of stuff for the athletic department, but you go to these FCS schools, and now I'm funding the field hockey team for the next year because of the paycheck they got from Penn State for Delaware to come up. But you know what? It's also awesome for those guys to get in that environment.
Yeah.
I mean, you sit there your whole life waiting for that one chance to play in front of that many people, and that was their chance. And it was great.
And they'll remember that experience forever.
No doubt about it.
I do want to hit.
No, you say FCS, but then Ohio State didn't exactly destroy Youngstown State.
No doubt about it. And my cousin's actually the starting free safety at Youngstown State, so I was very much tuned into that.
I have to ask you, how many cousins do you have?
Man, I got a big family, and
they
seriously.
I mean, every time I talk to you, I'm like, yeah, I know this guy in Washington. You're like, oh, dude, that's my cousin.
we are a football family. When we say family business, we mean it. I'm like,
we got Carlton Hasselrig involved.
No doubt.
Too, right?
I'm not even top 15 in my family. Like, I go to Thanksgiving. Any sport really. Football, I'm not in the top 10.
Like the little kids aren't even like asking you, like, "Oh my God!"
No, I'm not even. My little cousins don't think I'm cool. They don't, you're not in the NFL, nobody really is worried about it. That's neither here nor there. Let's talk to the defensive side of the ball.
Let's get back to the phone call you got.
Oh yes, Goon has been waiting to share this all week. My mother, who watches our show every single week faithfully, called me after the show last week to let me know she was just such a huge fan of Keith Conlon's personality. She thinks that he is the biggest superstar. So everybody give it up for Keith Conlon. Mama Hawk, we appreciate the viewership.
Mama Hawk, you're the only one I want to impress. It doesn't matter anybody else. I got two people in this world I'm going to impress: my wife and Mama Hawk.
And now Mama Hawk is on the list.
And I still haven't impressed my wife. I'm 1 for 2 on this, so I'm batting 500.
We'll keep working on that percentage for sure. Real quick, before we get to the break, let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. I was calling for more turnovers, more consistent pressure from that D-line group.
Yep.
I think we saw both of those things. Obviously, the explosive run for a touchdown wasn't the most encouraging sign, but I mean, it doesn't matter who you're playing. It's hard to be gap sound every single snap of a football game.
Sure. I mean, those guys are on scholarship too. They're not they're not on Division I scholarships, but they're still pretty damn good players, and they're going to go pretty far in their 1AA and the FCS title games. And just, again, those guys could play, but I was happy the way our defense played. You know, they went out there and they just controlled the game, shut them down, gave up the early first touchdown and this and that, let them give a little bit of a – I think that would sort of woke our team up if you really think about it.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it did. And one thing I got to give credit to Coach Franklin for, I've been a part of those types of FBS, FCS games that were much closer than they should have been. Not an FCS opponent. My first game ever, we played at App State that we were supposed to absolutely destroy, and we're playing in overtime. So for Coach Franklin to have those guys ready to go out there and play up to the standard regardless of the competition they're facing, really, to me, is a testament to how they prepare and, again, the standard of excellence they've instilled.
Somebody asked me the other day watching the North Carolina App State game, they're like, why are they people even scheduling App State anymore? Just stop.
That is all risk, no reward.
Stop scheduling them because they're going to knock somebody off once a year.
They definitely will. What did you see special teams-wise? Caden Saunders was a guy.
Again.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say Caden Saunders is a guy I want to see more at punt return. He looked a little bit better than he did in week 1, obviously making some adjustments to that new spot. Did you see anything on the special teams?
Well, again, it goes back to the whole timing thing because you can never do live. I mean, as much as they try to do it in camp, punt protection, punt return, kickoff, you can never go live. You just can't do it because you physically can't do that to your players because somebody's going to get hurt. So the only time that those guys did live on special teams was against West Virginia. It was the first time. So now, again, they improved from week 1 to 2, and that's what you're looking for.
And it goes back to your point with the NFL guys struggling with the same things. The college guys are struggling with week 1. You watched the Cowboys-Giants game last night. All of a sudden, due to the special teams, I mean, it's 16-0 like that in the Cowboys' favor. So we'll be right back after the break. We're going to bring on Trey Potts, the running back. We're going to break into his career at Penn State, the transition he's made, and also this past Saturday where he found some success.
Yeah, buddy.
Make more good in the all-new Sportage X-Pro. Kia, movement that inspires.
Win, lose, I will pour my heart out until there is nothing left to give, and I will leave everything in that ring.
On Saturday, September 16th, will you be there live when AEW Collision makes its debut at the Bryce Jordan Center at State College?
I'm tired of being nice.
Saturday nights will never be the same again on TNT.
The hottest action in wrestling is right here on AEW Collision.
Be there live to witness what the best in the world CM Punk has to say next.
Is it great to be alive on a Saturday night or what?
Don't miss The Redeemer, Miro, Luchasaurus and Christian Cage, Willow, Powerhouse Hobbs, The House of Black, Andrade, Samoa Joe, Wardlow, Scorpio, Ricky Starks, Orange Cassidy, Bullet Club Gold, FTR, and all your favorite stars will be in action.
Listen to that response.
Saturday night's all right for fighting. Don't miss AEW Collision live at the Bryce Jordan Center.
What a moment. We are about to take off.
Get your tickets now at AEWTix.com. Cards subject to change.
Like, I love seeing kids nowadays loving their dad. Like, Dad, what's Dad? We want to go play, Dad? Let's go ride bikes, Dad! Dad! Yeah, when I was a kid, I was like, Dad! Run! Open a window! Mom, what did you see in that?
From his Netflix specials and F is for Family, Bill Burr, live, October 4th, Bryce Jordan Center. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Bill Burr, live.
Mercy Me is coming to State College. The Together Again tour with Mercy Me. Crowder. And special guest Andrew Ripp. October 7th at Bryce Jordan Center. The Together Again tour with Mercy Me, Crowder, and Andrew Ripp. For tickets and more info, visit mercyme.org.
Old Dominion. No Bad Vibes Tour. Friday, December 1st. Bryce Jordan Center. With special guest Chase Rice and Kylie Morgan. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Old Dominion, live in concert. Brought to you by Messina Touring Group.
Welcome back to the Blue White Players Show. We are joined by Trey Potts. Trey, how are you feeling today, man?
I'm great. You know, it feels good to wake up 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously made the transition to Penn State this past offseason. We saw you in the mix a lot this week doing some really good things. Talk to us a little bit about that transition, how you got here.
It's been a great transition. You know, just getting here in May and spending the summer throughout, just bonding with the guys and getting that camaraderie and learning the playbook and stuff. It's went pretty smooth. You know, I'm still finding my role in the team, and, you know, anything that I can do to help us win is a big part in my success.
Yeah, you were talking about, like, we know that you this was your transfer year. You transferred in here. Obviously, you're from Williamsport. You're a millionaire.
Yep.
Greatest name in the history of sports.
Great millionaire.
It's the greatest nickname of all time for a school. You don't know that's an name?
No, I'm lost.
Williamsport, their nickname was the Millionaires.
Really?
That's our mascot.
That's the mascot, man. And we lost a guy who played right before me, who's relative to Trey, is Gary Brown. We lost him this past year to cancer.
Okay.
So with great running back, great person, all that stuff. But you know, you go to Minnesota. You know, I mean, you had your 3-4 years there. You know, played great. You know, now what makes you say, you know, I'm thinking about entering the transfer? Because I would love to know why people go in the transfer portal. Why would you not want to stay your 5th year? Was it offered? Was it even a thing? Or you just,
yeah.
What was your mindset?
So for me, you know, I had a great time in Minnesota.
Yeah.
You know, I got lifelong friends out there. Like, shout out all my boys.
They're a good damn team.
Yeah, my first year we were 11-2. Went to the Outback Bowl. You know, it was a great time out there. But I think just after last year, because I suffered an injury in 2021, and then 2022 I had a pretty good year, and you know, I was finishing up my degree this spring, and I kind of
good for you.
I kind of made that decision with my family and was like, you know, let's just bet on myself and see what other options are out there. You know, I had a great 4 years out here, but I still have time from that COVID year to, you know, just explore my options. And I hopped in the transfer portal, and you know, I had a lot of schools looking at me, and shout out Penn State. They got me here. They were pretty heavy on me from the start. And, you know, I think a lot of people get it mixed up that, you know, transferring, like you just want to go somewhere and be the number one guy and start and stuff like that. But people lose sight that, you know, every Power 5 program is going to have competition. And for me to have the chance to come back home, be close to my family, have my family come to games, you know, and this team is so special. Like we have so many weapons to be able to make history this year. And for me, it was kind of a no-brainer.
You know, my next question, you kind of alluded to it with being closer to home. I remember being an Ohio kid, how cool it was to run out of the tunnel at Beaver Stadium. You're from here. This is your backyard. What is that experience like being back with the Nittany Lions now?
It's literally, I can't even describe it. Like, it gives me chills. One of my earliest memories is I remember, so my mom graduated from here. My grandfather graduated from here. So, I grew up going to Penn State games. Like, some of my earliest pictures are me in blue and white jersey. But one of my earliest memories is it was like a raining game. It was one of the big games back in the day. And
back in the days, 2000.
I
just want to say that so all the people out here, the Cougar Club over here, it's not.
That's funny.
But I just remember I had jeans on and I had white shoes and it was raining, and I remember like my shoes turned blue from the jeans, and that like is always going to be in my memory. But like just coming out here and running out that tunnel it's insane to me, and I'm just so grateful for the opportunity.
Nice, absolutely. What are you majoring in up here now? What did you major? What did you graduate from Minnesota in?
Yeah, so I got my degree in strategic communication and a minor in sports management, and then right now working on my second degree in communications here.
Well, obviously the goal was the NFL. That's the ultimate dream of everybody to go. But what are we doing? What is your lifelong ambition? What would you love to be doing? What's your perfect job?
So I'm currently striving to try to find a spot in sports agency. I think right now with the NIL space, it's kind of a level playing field. And I feel like after I get done with my career in football, I think I can add a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience through playing football and having the chance to do NIL things. So that's
this is music to my ears. This is like the exact transition.
It's like Aeneas is your dream, then.
Yeah, no, this is literally what I did. That's funny. Yeah. I do want to ask you. It's an interesting situation because, like you said, you walk into a room where there's competition. You know what you got in Nick Singleton. You know what you got in Katron Allen. I think one of the special parts about Penn State specifically is that you can have a lot of talent in the room. It can be highly, highly competitive day in and day out, trying to earn more and more reps. But then there's still that brotherhood as soon as you get back to the locker room. Talk about that dynamic a little bit as you've continued to carve a rollout on this football team.
Yeah, I think for me that which helped a lot is just being an older guy and coming to a team. And, when you're young and you come to a new team, you still got to feel everybody out. And for me, like, I just came to the team open, and I let everybody see my true colors and see my personality and things like that. So for the young guys in the room, they kind of got to know me a lot faster, and we got a lot closer, a lot quicker. So that really helped. And there's days that one's hot, one's cold, but at the same time, like, we're brothers and we come in every day. We want to work, we want to compete, and it's open dialogue, open communication to just grow as players and grow as men. So it's been a great experience.
Absolutely loaded running backs room. Absolutely loaded. What was you said you had options and where you wanted to go, and who were your other options? Did you come here saying, I'm going to be the man here? I mean, it's like, it's a room full of people.
Yeah.
But I think that football has expanded to the point where it's like, it's like 3 or 4 guys playing nowadays.
Yeah.
Even in the NFL. Like I told Trey when we were off the air, I said, you may want to say you're a slot receiver when it comes to the NFL with contracts, because they're not playing running backs anymore. You're coming into a loaded room, and what are your expectations, and are they being met? I mean, you played, 350 yards running this weekend was damn good.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me is in the transfer portal, I had like schools like Miami, Cal, Stanford, just all over. And I already went 1,000 miles away from home, and I felt with their communication, I just felt like it wasn't all there. And being recruited by Penn State in high school, I knew Coach Franklin. Yeah. I knew some guys on the staff that were reaching out, and then Coach Sider came there like kind of late, so I didn't know Coach Sider as well, but he did a great job in the portal, and they were just upfront and honest with me. Obviously they not gonna promise me anything, but at the same time, like, there's an opportunity. You're a vet, and
sure.
We're going to be good this year. So
2 more years?
Yeah.
With the COVID year, you have an extra year?
Yeah.
That's great, man. So Aeneas, I talked to him after last year. I didn't have a feel for our team as a letterman and as an alumnus and this and that. Because I'm not around it ever. It's just like the way it is. You got to grow up and grow old. So with Aeneas last year, we did this show last year. And I started talking to these guys like we're talking to you right now. And I was sitting there, Aeneas. I said, I like these guys. I mean, because you don't see these guys. That's the whole point of why we're doing these shows, and that is that people get to know you as a human being without a helmet on, and but there's always these stories, and they're like, why are you here? And it's fantastic, and I love those stories. That's why we're doing these shows, and to understand why you came back to Penn State. And the history of Penn State is fantastic, and I love it. So you talk about the NIL. I mean, you have any kind of NIL stories? I mean, we've been asking each guy during the week, and I'm not, again, I have to reiterate and say, I'm not looking to say, oh, you had $800,000 off. We don't want to hear that. It's the little stuff that people want to hear about.
Yeah. So actually today, because Mondays and then after Saturdays on the game, so we have, obviously our week is already hectic, but coach gives us an opportunity to let us go do NIL things. And this morning I actually went out to Lewisburg, so I have a deal with Blaze Alexander. So I did a commercial with them, which was super fun. But they actually support local high schools, their football teams in central Pennsylvania. So with my deal with Blaze Alexander, they're actually giving back to Williamsport Area High School,
nice.
Lewisburg, Milton, Mount Carmel, like a couple of those central PA schools. And it's just, for me, obviously I got a deal from them, but seeing them be able to be open and give money out to local high schools for them to get new jerseys or things like that. So it was super nice.
That to me is one of the cool things about NIL that people don't talk about enough, is these kids kids like yourself have the opportunity to give back to young guys who are trying to do the exact same thing that you're doing, that you were just in their shoes not too long ago. So it's definitely cool to hear that aspect of it.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to ask about, and I think he still doesn't get enough credit in the grand scheme of things with the Lawn Boys, Jaywan Sider. I am yet to meet a running back who has had a negative thing to say about the guy. They play hard for him. Obviously, you have the success of the running back room now, the Miles Sanders, the Saquons of the world. What is Jaywan Sider bringing to the table that makes him such a special coach?
I feel like obviously he's my coach, but I look at him as a good man. Like when I come into that meeting room every day and I see him outside of football, like he's just a great dude. He comes with great energy. It's bigger than football to him. And, he just provides that. I think a lot of coaches sometimes, you get in a room and bullets are flying and things like that. So it gets a little heated. But at the same time, I think Coach Sider creates such a safe space in that running back room that just lets us be ourselves and connect so deeply rather than just on the surface level, on a coach to player level. So
did you get some crap from being from West Virginia last week? I know there was definitely. Got some push-ups involved here or anything? Or
we'll handle that.
He's all Penn State now. He don't want. I'm not West Virginia. He don't want to get beat by 40.
I do want to ask, on that note, with Coach Sider, I talked to a guy. Journey Brown was just in town this past weekend, and he talks development. He's a tremendous story. Journey Brown, for those of you who remember, elite running back here, had a historic Cotton Bowl and then unfortunately had the medical with some heart conditions. And I know for a fact he's helped Journey develop just as much off of the field as he has on the field. Do you feel like Coach Sider has helped you in this transition from Minnesota continue to reach some of those goals that you have for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I think he pushes in football and pushes us in a life aspect too. He talks. A lot of coaches just want to put their other guys on pedestals that might have went to the league or something like that. But, he brings up JB, he brings up Miles. Like he just talks about them in a football aspect, but also in a life aspect. And it's been cool because I didn't know Journey personally, but I met him this weekend when he was up here and heard the stories from Coach Sider. So that was really cool. And I really appreciate that as a player.
Yes, finish up what Journey's doing now because it's amazing.
Yeah, it's nuts, man.
It's really just it's awesome how he's transitioned to where he's at right now.
Yeah, Journey is he's such a hard worker. He's such a quality dude. And the one thing he shared, a couple times publicly now is the toughest part about being done with football for him is like there's just not a lot of career paths that give you that same level of juice and adrenaline that you get from being a running back in the Big Ten. So Journey Brown is now a member of a pit crew. He's waking up every day, working with drivers. He's changing tires out, running around, having a blast. And he seems to be loving life. He recently got engaged. His daughter's doing well as well. He's doing all kinds of things, bought a home. So,
I mean, NASCAR or like IndyCar, do you know?
Man, if I told you I knew that much about racing.
It's NASCAR, right?
NASCAR.
There
NASCAR,
we go.
Because I saw him at the Pocono a couple weeks ago, and it's amazing.
It's awesome that he's able to still pursue his passions, you know.
Yeah. And then there was guys I played with because they were recruiting, like not recruiting, but they always look for football players who had the edge. Like they wanted to be, we got to beat the time. We got to beat the time, the competitive edge. And they wanted bigger guys who were, not like us, not like the fatter guys, but like tight ends and like H-backs.
Right, the athletes.
Who could actually like lift the car up if they ever need to.
Right,
and, like,
but also get around the car. They got to get out of there.
Broke and there's like Goon, like,
Yeah, no, I could never do it. My knees would quit on me far before I could get out the way of that car. Either way, Trey, want to thank you for joining the show. Great to get to know you, hear from you. Wish you all the best this season. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more Penn State football coverage.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you
For having
Make more good in the all-new Sportage X-Pro. Kia, movement that inspires.
Win, lose, I will pour my heart out until there is nothing left to give, and I will leave everything in that ring.
On Saturday, September 16th, will you be there live when AEW Collision makes its debut at the Bryce Jordan Center at State College?
I'm tired of being nice.
Saturday nights will never be the same again on TNT.
The hottest action in wrestling is right here on AEW Collision.
Be there live to witness what the best in the world, CM Punk, has to say next.
Is it great to be alive on a Saturday night or what?
Don't miss The Redeemer, Miro, Luchasaurus and Christian Cage, Willow, Powerhouse Hobbs, The House of Black, Andrade, Samoa Joe, Wardlow, Scorpio, Ricky Starks, Orange Cassidy, Bullet Club Gold, FTR, and all your favorite stars will be in action.
Listen to that response.
Saturday nights, all right for fighting. Don't miss AEW Collision live at the Bryce Jordan Center.
What a moment. We are about to take off.
Get your tickets now at AEWTix.com. Cards subject to change.
Like, I love seeing kids nowadays loving their dad. Like, Dad, what's Dad? Want to go play, Dad? Let's go ride bikes, Dad! Dad! Yeah, when I was a kid, it was like, Dad, run! Open a window! Mom, what did you see in that?
From his Netflix specials and F is for Family, Bill Burr, live, October 4th, Bryce Jordan Center. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Bill Burr, live.
Mercy Me is coming to State College. The Together Again tour with Mercy Me. Crowder. And special guest Andrew Ripp. October 7th at Bryce Jordan Center. The Together Again tour with Mercy Me, Crowder, and Andrew Ripp. For tickets and more info, visit mercyme.org.
Old Dominion. No Bad Vibes Tour. Friday, December 1st. Bryce Jordan Center. With special guest Chase Rice and Kylie Morgan. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Old Dominion, live in concert. Brought to you by Messina Touring Group.
Hey, welcome back to the Goon and never mind. Wow. The Blue White Players Show with the host Aeneas Hawkins and your friend the Goon here, Keith Conlon. We got a segment coming on here right now. It's our Letterman segment, and I want to talk about it real quick and how so Justin Krupakis, he has a physical therapy place up here and in Pittsburgh and amongst other places. Fantastic, big supporter of Penn State football and in-state college and with the Penn State program. So he was adamant about sponsoring the show, but he wanted to sponsor the show for the Letterman. So we're having a little catch-up segment every week, 5-10 minutes with each guy. We had Jordan Hill was our guest last week on that, or not guest, but was our tape show last week. But we got Krupakis on here right now, just explaining what he's doing right now and his company and where he's at. And a little catch-up minute with Justin Krupakis. So there you go. Enjoy.
I graduated December of 2000 from Penn State, and I was a defensive end. I own multiple businesses and moved back to Pittsburgh from State College. Had lived in State College since 2007 when I was kind of at the tail end of my NFL career. And born and raised in Pittsburgh, though, and moved the family back here June 30th. One of the businesses I own is Atlas Therapy, outpatient physical therapy clinics in Central PA, including State College. We're very proud of what we've created there. We've been around for 14 years, and it's not even close. We're the top place in the area. And so we hope no one has injuries or things that they need rehab. But if you do, come see us at Atlas Therapy, and you'll see it's a special place. And we've got a special team there as well. Penn State's the only place I ever wanted to go. My first memory as a human being was being on my dad's shoulders at a Penn State game. I had to have been 2 or 3 years old. And ever since that, there was a magical kind of connection where it's the only place I ever wanted to go. When I'd come up to camps, any chance we were up there, it's just where I always wanted to be. So I'd let Penn State and Coach Bradley know pretty early that that's the only place I ever wanted to go. I think by the time that they offered me after the 6th game of my senior year, I'd had 35 or so other offers from Power 5 and Division I schools. And Penn State was the only place we beat McKeesport on a Friday night in overtime. And that Saturday, I got a call from Con Bradley saying that they had a scholarship for me, and it was a pretty easy decision for me. I think the toughest thing was probably early on, got switched from middle linebacker or inside linebacker to defensive end. My dream was always to be an inside linebacker at Penn State, and then not playing as much as you think you should or you want to early on. It was actually walking out of the tunnel or running out of the tunnel as a red-shirted guy my freshman year in a Penn State uniform. So, and seeing my parents in the stands, and it was affirmation that kind of this lifelong dream had become a reality. So that's always easy for me. And it's always hard for me to talk about. It's 30 some years ago, but we move on in life from the Penn State thing into bigger and better things, but it's still important. And it still was an important part of my life. Yeah, I oftentimes don't go there. There were so many great ones that that it'd be a shame to leave any of them out. And I could go on and on. I was fortunate to play with some phenomenal players that I have the utmost respect for. What I will say this, the toughest guy I played in high school against was Brandon Short, who became my teammate at Penn State. Tough question. I'll try to answer with 2 different answers, but quickly. So my redshirt freshman year, I was like a 230, 35-pound D-end in the Big Ten, and we played against Michigan State, and Flozell, the Hotel Adams, was their left tackle. And he was a monster. He had to outweigh me by 100 pounds, very skilled guy, had a great pro career. And I remember the first time I came on a pass rush with him, and he hit me with the pass protection, a double punch. I was like one of those cartoons where I was like, and I said, boy, this guy's a whole nother level. So whether it was my age or just that guy's ability, that was the first. The second one I'd say is a combination between Drew Brees and his offensive line. I always didn't like playing them because their offensive line was so athletic and his release was so quick, and the way that they would do it kind of timing-wise, you could never get to Brees, it felt like. They were very frustrating plays. So that's probably my 2 answers for that. I'm a traditionalist. I mean, everyone that knows me, I love the history of the game and the tradition and everything. So places like the Big House were enjoyable. Everyone probably talks about Wisconsin, and when jump around the whole stadium is shaking. But I got to tell you, as a Pittsburgh kid from Central Catholic that went to high school in the shadow of the Cathedral Learning, we played at Pitt Stadium. Before it was torn down and turned into the Peterson Event Center. That was a special game for me. I went there, walked up Cardiac Hill as a kid with my dad and brother to watch Pitt games. And so then to play in that stadium was pretty cool, but playing for the team that I always wanted to be on. I have and always have had a devout respect for Joe. I mean, it's the only guy I ever wanted to play for in college. And he'd call me Krapik, so he would shorten my name. And as teammates will tell you, I was a little bit rambunctious as a youngster and kind of to the echo of the whistle. And I'll never forget my first spring. I maybe jumped on a pile late or something, and he said, "Krapik, you got no poise. You'll never play here." And that changed me.
Make more good in the all-new Sportage X-Pro. Kia, movement that inspires.
Win, lose, I will pour my heart out until there is nothing left to give, and I will leave everything in that ring.
On Saturday, September 16th, will you be there live when AEW Collision makes its debut at the Bryce Jordan Center at State College?
I'm tired of being nice.
Saturday nights will never be the same again on TNT.
The hottest action in wrestling is right here on AEW Collision.
Be there live to witness what the best in the world CM Punk has to say next.
Is it great to be alive on a Saturday night or what?
Don't miss The Redeemer, Miro, Luchasaurus and Christian Cage, Willow, Powerhouse Hobbs, The House of Black, Andrade, Samoa Joe, Wardlow, Scorpio, Ricky Starks, Orange Cassidy, Bullet Club Gold, FTR, and all your favorite stars will be in action.
Listen to that response.
Saturday nights, all right for fighting. Don't miss AEW Collision live at the Bryce Jordan Center.
What a moment. We are about to take off.
Get your tickets now at AEWTix.com. Cards subject to change.
Like, I love seeing kids nowadays loving their dad. Like, Dad, what's Dad? Want to go play, Dad? Let's go ride bikes, Dad! Dad! Yeah, when I was a kid, I was like, Dad! Run! Open a window! Mom, what did you see in that?
From his Netflix specials and F is for Family, Bill Burr, live, October 4th, Bryce Jordan Center. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Bill Burr, live.
Mercy Me is coming to State College. The Together Again tour with Mercy Me, Crowder, and special guest Andrew Riff. October 7th at Bryce Jordan Center. The Together Again tour with Mercy Me, Crowder, and Andrew Riff. For tickets and more info, visit mercyme.org.
Old Dominion. No Bad Vibes Tour. Friday, December 1st. Bryce Jordan Center. With special guest Chase Rice and Kylie Morgan. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Old Dominion, live in concert. Brought to you by Messina Touring Group.
I am Aeneas Hawkins. He's Keith Conlon, and we're back with the Blue White Players Show. Keith, one thing we got to talk about that I'm a little frustrated with yet again, Penn State football opens up in the Big Ten on the road like clockwork. Yep. I'm surprised.
I'm just completely baffled by it. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, Chris, how many years is this? Is 30 years of Big Ten football? How many years is this we're opening on the road in Big Ten schedule? Okay, well, we'll get our answer soon.
We got the statistician on it.
The fact that Pat Kraft went to the Big Ten meetings last year and said it's embarrassing that it's like this. It's like it's well into the 20s.
Yeah, and they're deep into it now. I mean, at this point, it's like laughable.
I mean, because I know I played. This is the 30th year we were in the Big Ten, and our first game in the Big Ten was Minnesota at home. So I know we didn't open on the road that year.
And that's the last time you can remember not doing it.
Right.
That's a problem.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm going to talk to you. I mean, we're sitting here, just doing what we do, and I have an unbelievable story for the Illinois game. I don't know if you ever know this story. Or
Oh, no,
not.
please share, please.
I mean, are you serious?
I would love to hear it.
Obviously, we're playing Illinois in 1994 at Illinois, the number 1 rated defense in the country.
Illinois was, or you
Illinois,
were?
Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah, Simeon Rice, Kevin Hardy, John Holasek, and Dana Howard.
Okay.
Dana Howard is the all-time leading tackler in Big Ten history.
Okay.
Simeon Rice, Kevin Howard, John Holasek was a great Buffalo Bill, and he was a hell of a high school coach out in Chicago right now. So those are their 4 linebackers, and their D-line was pretty nasty. So we're playing them, I believe it was I don't know what time the game was. I believe it was a midday game, mid-afternoon game, I think. It wasn't a night game. Could have been, though. I mean, we ended in the dark, but we woke up. We had no power. I mean, a lot of people know this story, but we had no power in our hotel. And we were up on like the 25th floor as players, like we're up top. And the old man is going bonkers. Like, the old man was so regimented with his, what's breakfast time, what's lunchtime, what's dinner time, what time's your snack. We're on the field at 7:04. We're doing stretches at 7:07. It's just how it was. And to knock him out of that routine that he had been in since 1966 as the head coach was insane. So we go down for breakfast, and they're like, you guys just got to walk down. This is pre-cell phones.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we could get a group text to the team like, hey, guys, walk down the steps. It's like
come on down.
Like the elevator opens up and somebody's screaming, get the hell downstairs. So we start walking downstairs. So we go downstairs for breakfast. There's no electricity, no power. There's no food.
Oh, man.
No food. So they have they ran out to get donuts and coffee and stuff like that. I mean, offensive linemen are like, yeah, it's nice,
really
man.
excited.
Way
Way better than egg whites. Yeah.
Man, this is great. I don't need an omelet station. So we get down to eat, and Joe was like, his big thing was worried about your legs. Get off your legs, get off your legs, get off your legs. So he said, you guys are staying down here. So we had to sit in the little ballroom for hours.
That's terrible.
With no electricity, nothing. While the managers went to our rooms and packed our bags and stuff like that, and then came back down. So our pregame meal was at a bar restaurant in this is not a lie. This is all true. It's at the bar restaurant in the hotel, and they bought in pizza, hoagies, and Pepsis.
That is insane. Before a Big Ten football game.
Again, fat man dream. I mean, I am in heaven.
It's the greatest
I'm
pregame.
just like ripping down hoagie after hoagie, like, oh, this is great.
Why can't it be like this every week?
I was like, this is great. And I could just see Joe just getting madder and madder, and we're all just. So we get to the game, and I'm sitting there in pregame warm-up. I'm like, oh, dude. I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, there's nothing I've ever tasted in a football helmet in my life, maybe. And I was like, something's going wrong here. I was like, oh. So they come out, and they completely jump us. I mean, jump us. It's 21-0 first quarter. Before we even were like, whoa, what's going on here? Coaches are fighting on the sideline and this and that, and we're all just like, we're good. Mm-hmm. We just knew we were that good. We were at that point, we were very cocky. And I believe that if we won that day, we had clinched the Rose Bowl and or part of the Big Ten title. So we knew it going in, and we're just sitting there, and then, they're playing this game, and we get it to 28-7 at half. And I remember the coaches were screaming, yelling, and this and that, and then the players were just like, shut up. We got this. We're good. We got them. We were just that cocky. We just knew it. We're good. I mean, I stopped burping onions in the second quarter, so we're gonna get through this here. Right. So, we get to the fourth quarter, and they need this. We need this. We literally had to drive 96 yards in it's just, you can't make this up. In a little bit of mist coming right at us on their old school turf. Against the number one defense in the country.
96 yards.
Yep. So the funny thing is that Mike Archie let a punt go over his head, and then the whole offensive line runs on the field yelling at Bunny Rabbit, yeah, great job, man, way to go. The ball bounced an extra 30 yards. I guess we got to go 96 now. Yeah. Thanks, Bunny. I guess we got to go 96. So we're in the huddle, and fast forward to the next morning, and you're reading after. I'll get back to the way we won the game, but they were sitting there saying, the fans were like, dude, they were in the huddle laughing. And it's true. We were just sitting there laughing. So we're going down, and we just start this drive, and it's just methodical. Just pound them, throw when we want to. They're trying to pass rush. They're trying to blitz. We're picking everything up. We're just laughing. They start calling defensive timeouts because they're tired. Mm-hmm. And we're just sitting in the huddle. We weren't talkers, but the way they talked the whole first half, we started talking.
Yeah.
Oh, man, they're on their knees, sitting there in their huddle
gasping for air.
Yeah, come on, dude. You're better than this. It's so we go back and we knew going into the game that Dana Howard, again, the number one linebacker in the country, all-time leader tackling the Big Ten history, he said if we scored 28 points, there ain't no way in hell Penn State could score 29 points. If our offense could give us 28 points, they're not going to beat us. There's no way we could lose this game.
How'd that end up?
So when we completely ran over him specifically to go into the end zone for the touchdown with like a minute to go in the game, we're all sitting there going, that's 34, with a couple little words after that.
Mixed it a little bit.
So we go back to the back to the huddle and stuff like that after the game. We're just laughing at this guys and reading the papers the next day, and they were like, dude, they were laughing in the huddle. I mean, that's how like cocky and arrogant we were at the time.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, there aren't a lot of teams who can act that cocky and then see it pay off in the long run. Anyway, that's
we
how
just
you know.
knew it.
Yeah, that's
and
how
then
you know.
We knew how better in shape we were than them, type of thing. That we would wear them out as the game went on because they were like, I mean, they went up 21-0, and you think they just won the Rose Bowl themselves. So they were jumping around. It is what it is. I mean, you can't blame them. Their fans were all trying to jacked up, and we just took them down and just like slowly, methodically, just mauled them.
Walk them down, man. I love the tidbit about Coach Paterno being absolutely pissed that his routine was thrown off. I'll tell you what, you want to irritate a college football head coach. James Franklin is not much different. You get them off their routine against their will.
Yep.
All hell breaks loose. It's not a good day for anybody.
Yeah. The other thing I say is that I never thought I'd see another coach who was so tight-lipped about injuries, but James Franklin, you can't get anything under that building.
You won't know unless he wants to.
I'm like calling like, hey, is so-and-so there? Like, what do you want from them? What exactly are you asking? Why are you asking for who? What's going on here? I want to know why.
Oh, man.
You're like, dude, I just want to know what the kid's playing, man. He's from my high school. Relax. Jeez.
It's my son's favorite player.
I know, man. I'm going to buy a jersey. He's going to stay next year or not? I mean, jeez.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I got my own Illinois story.
Well, yeah. What was you?
Well, not to bring up bad times, but we got to talk about it. The last time I played Illinois,
don't say it.
I got to. We go to 37 overtimes and lose, unfortunately. They had a scheme that, honestly, we had not seen before. They had not put on film. And with the way the numbers were that year, especially up front, we had so many injuries. So they went and lined up in 13 and 14 literally the entire game. We just didn't have the bodies we needed to close that game off and shut down what they were trying to do. How can Penn State this week against Illinois on the road avoid some of those same issues that my 2021 team had?
I think that we're
better.
Yeah, there are a lot more bodies out there. The recruiting has been, I'm not going to say the recruiting is better now than it was then, because the recruiting has been very, very good the last 5-10 years. But I also go back to like the type of team we're talking about. These guys are like, you told me last year, these kids they want the Rose Bowl. They want to win. And the way I see this team this year, they're not going to let something like that happen.
Yeah, I think, it's so apparent to me. I just said this to somebody else. Penn State, from a talent perspective right now, is as good as any team that Coach Franklin has ever had at Penn State. And it's not even really all that close. We had plenty of teams that I was on that would get to the preseason, and we'd set goals of national championship, Big Ten championship. And while we believed them, we weren't, we didn't have the type of talent to do it. Now when these kids say it, like they were last year with the Rose Bowl at the end of the season, and it's only elevated this year. Those kids believe they can go compete for a national championship.
I completely agree with them. I really do. I'm bullish on this team, and I have been for 2 years. I blame you. I'm starting to believe you too much, man.
Right. That was my fault. As soon as I retire, they elevate.
Oh, I wasn't going that way.
Okay.
I guess I will now, though.
Okay, now that I've
once they got rid of you, I mean, hell, it was just like the trajectory was straight up in the air.
4 more wins a year.
Perfect.
No doubt about it. I think, again, you talk about the talent that they have. Illinois is replacing so much talent themselves. They had 3 kids go in the first 2 rounds.
Correct.
Seemingly all in their secondary, too. It seems like just watching their first couple weeks of film, they're trying to do some of the same things schematically that they were doing last year that gave them so much success, and they just don't have the horses to pull it off. I think Penn State goes up there and, really kind of plus you have the experience last year of going to Purdue to open up in the Big Ten. They're not afraid of going on the road and competing with anybody.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that, every team is different. You don't know how they're going to react on the road, because this is the first real road trip. But I've always thought that road trips bring you in tighter.
Yeah.
Because you are all regimented in what you're doing and stuff like that. Everybody has the same clock. It's like, okay, we got to go down to film tonight. We got to go watch film. And it's more of a bonding thing, because it's not, on the sideline of a home game, there's 90 guys dressed. I mean, in the away game, there's 65 guys there.
Yep.
And that's the core of the team. And, that is that's the nucleus of the team.
That's one thing that Franklin does a really, really good job of. I loved it as a player. Before away games, he put up a picture of their stadium. He put their attendance on the slide, and he'd say their 75,000 versus our 78. And that's all we need. We're going to go in here. We're going to be victorious. It's a bonding moment. You go in there, and it's like it's us against the world. It kind of fires you up as a player. Were you like that? Were you love playing on the road?
There was nothing better than playing on the road and just looking up in the crowd and just, again, we weren't cocky. Well, we were cocky. There's no doubt about that. But
you are petty. You are petty, though. You're a petty guy. So going on the road, winning in front of their fans was probably thrilling for you, as petty as you are.
Petty?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You're a little petty. You got some pettiness to you.
It's an old man. It's an old man trying to relive stories. Jeez. Jeez. No, the whole going on the road thing. There's nothing better in the world than just going into somebody else's house and just imposing your will.
No doubt.
And making them shut up. It's like the greatest thing in the world. We went to Michigan in '94, and it was our first time ever playing out there, and it was just like, we were up 16-0, and it was like, where the hell is it? It's the quietest 110,000 people I've ever heard in my life, and it was just like they scored a couple touchdowns, and then they got turned into a big game. But there's those bonding moments, and that's what I remember. You remember Penn State games as much as you want, but I remember the away games of just having fun, and the Illinois game was just an experience you'll never forget. Going away on bowl trips, but an away game is there's something about it, and especially being the first one, it's there's some guys in this team who've never been on a road trip.
Yeah,
so this is their first time going out, and some guys never really flew before either.
No doubt.
Now you're jumping on a plane and.
That's one thing they don't tell you.
Are you one of those people?
I'm not. No. I got no problem with planes.
Those guys got abused.
I can fly, but I'll tell you what. One thing I wasn't prepared for with college football was the amount of guys who had literally never flown and were on the plane.
White knuckles.
Much more nervous about the flight than playing against Ohio State in prime time. Not even really remotely
Now we're in
close.
story time now, so I'm not lying to you. I'm telling you right now. So there was a plane ride. We came back from Michigan State. Guys were throwing up, and it was like, you usually bust those guys' chops real bad. Come on, man. You're puking. Everybody had their puke was right here. We're all like, I got you, man. So the other one was we're playing Michigan State, and because that's late November, coming in from the Midwest. I'm not going to say Richie Valens and the Big Bopper, on these little you guys fly the big planes. We used to fly the Red Barons in. So these things came across the Midwest like this, and we rocked. At one point, we went from Indiana to Ohio in one little wind. I was like, whoa,
what breeze!
So, we had a couple guys that were our strength coach, John Thomas, was not a good flyer. He was definitely one of those guys. And he was like, oh God, the plane's going all over the place. So he looks back at one point, and this is a world renowned story. He looked back, and one of our, who helped our kickers out, his name was Bob Phillips. And he was 88 years old back in the mid 90s. So he looked back at JT, and he's laughing. And he goes, now imagine them shooting at you, trying to kill you. JT's like, what? And he goes, I was a tail gunner on a bomber in World War II. And he's like, well, he's sitting there laughing. He's having a smoke. He's back there, it's got his leg up. Everybody's choking up and this and that. And he's just like, now imagine them trying to shoot you down.
I love the visual of the 88-year-old man being way tougher on the plane than all those future NFL athletes.
He's as goofy as hell.
That's funny. I don't have any plane stories, but what I do have is my first away game I traveled to, 2019 versus Iowa. Their fans are right on top of you.
Absolutely.
They're right. And, I'm a young guy. I don't know any better. I'm coming straight from high school football. I leave my helmet on the bench and walk away. I turn back around because PJ Mustapher grabs me. He's like, oh, your helmet. And I turn around, and the helmet is halfway up the student section. And Coach Fry looked at me. He's like, you're lucky you haven't cracked the rotation even a little bit. And then turns around and walks away. I'm like, okay, so you're getting 2 for 1 now because I'm not good enough to play either. And I lost the helmet. Never did that back and ran stadium steps for that. So that's
we had our third team quarterback get his helmet stolen back in 1995.
Okay.
The kid went home. The kid who stole it, his dad found it. I said, where the hell did you get this? He goes, I stole it from Penn State. It was in our building by Tuesday morning.
There you go.
The dad made the kid send it back, FedExed it. Overnighted it.
That's a dad that's got some sense. That's a good dad right
Absolutely.
there. Yeah, that's a bad feeling getting that helmet tossed up there.
You watched it go away, too.
Oh, yeah. No, I watched it climb the ladder. I'm like, man. And
I had a chicken or a pig head thrown at me in Iowa.
Yeah, no, those Iowa fans are nuts. No, they're insane. I'm excited, not to look too far ahead, but obviously the last experience I had with Iowa was the game where we had all of our impact players seemingly get hurt in the span of like 15 plays. And those fans are booing them. They're being intense, and they're just losing their absolute mind. So I'm excited for them to come back here for a whiteout game and get to deal with our fans and our environment and the right way at that.
I can't wait for them to get pummeled. But let's get through Illinois first for sure. I like us 14-15 is the spread, so I like us more than that, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
we owe them. I think that James has that in his head.
Yeah, no, Coach Franklin, I talk about you being petty. I think Coach Franklin's on that list right below you. I think he's
I gotta go look at what petty means. I really need to find a definition. I'm like, wait a minute.
Coach Franklin forgives, but he doesn't forget. I see Penn State football absolutely going in there, guns blazing, doing everything they can to dominate that football game. But enough about Coach Franklin and Goon's pettiness. We'll be right back after the break to close this thing out.
Make more good in the all-new Sportage X-Pro. Kia, movement that inspires.
Win, lose, I will pour my heart out until there is nothing left to give, and I will leave everything in that ring.
On Saturday, September 16th, will you be there live when AEW Collision makes its debut at the Bryce Jordan Center at State College?
I'm tired of being nice.
Saturday nights will never be the same again on TNT.
The hottest action in wrestling is right here on AEW Collision.
Be there live to witness what the best in the world, CM Punk, has to say next.
Is it great to be alive on a Saturday night or what?
Don't miss The Redeemer, Miro, Luchasaurus and Christian Cage, Willow, Powerhouse Hobbs, The House of Black, Andrade, Samoa Joe, Wardlow, Scorpio, Ricky Starks, Orange Cassidy, Bullet Club Gold, FTR, and all your favorite stars will be in action.
Listen to that response.
Saturday nights, all right for fighting. Don't miss AEW Collision live at the Bryce Jordan Center.
What a moment. We are about to take off.
Get your tickets now at AEWTix.com. Cards subject to change.
Like, I love seeing kids nowadays loving their dad. Like, Dad, what's Dad? We want to go play, Dad? Let's go ride bikes, Dad! Dad! Yeah, when I was a kid, it was like, Dad! 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 Run! Open a window! Mom, what did you see in that?
From his Netflix specials and F is for Family, Bill Burr, live, October 4th, Bryce Jordan Center. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Bill Burr, live.
Mercy Me is coming to State College. The Together Again tour with Mercy Me, Crowder, and special guest Andrew Ripp. October 7th at Bryce Jordan Center. The Together Again tour with Mercy Me, Crowder, and Andrew Ripp. For tickets and more info, visit mercyme.org.
Old Dominion. No Bad Vibes Tour. Friday, December 1st. Bryce Jordan Center. With special guest Chase Rice and Kylie Morgan. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Old Dominion, live in concert. Brought to you by Messina.